G'day everyone. So recently I decided that it would be a fun project if I was going to get a whole bunch of lead sinkers and basically melt them down and mold some dive weights. So I picked up a mold off the internet, off diveimports.com, and went on my local buy, swap and sell page for Townsville and had a look around and found a bloke that had a whole bunch of lead sinkers he wanted to get rid of, which was handy, and he gave them to me for free. But when I looked on the internet and I was basically looking for tutorials, anything that could show me a walkthrough on exactly how to do it, it was a bit lacking. There were a few sort of like scrappy videos here and there, and there were a lot of sort of text tutorials and walkthroughs, but there was no step-by-step video showing you every step of the process in detail and how to do it safely. So I thought if I'm going to be basically finding it out for myself and doing a bit of trial and error, I might as well come up with a video myself and provide that for the next person so they don't potentially endanger themselves. So that's what this is. So the first thing I'm going to cover is safety equipment, as you're obviously working with molten lead and you need to take adequate precautions. You're going to need construction longs, or at least thick denim, to cover your legs. The knee pads were handy for comfort on these ones. A long sleeve shirt to protect your torso and arms from any splashing that might but hopefully will not occur. And of course you're going to need full eye goggles, a mask for the fumes, and of course something half decent to cover your feet. Most importantly, you're going to need heat-rated welding gloves to handle the mold and pour the lead safely. I cannot stress this enough. Now, for supplies and equipment. So I had this little fan which was just helping me spread the fumes. You're going to need a camping stove or similar burner, and of course you'll need a tin to melt and pour your lead in. Plus, you're going to need butane to run your burner. Next, you'll need a spoon to scoop off the dross, which I'm going to cover shortly. It is important to use a tin-shaped vessel to melt the lead, as it keeps the heat in and melts so much faster than a pan. I tried a pan earlier, and as you can see, I simply couldn't get the lead to a high enough temperature to pour properly. You're going to need a mold to pour the lead into. This one is aluminium, worked really well, and set me back about $20. Last of all, you'll need a bucket of water to quench your weights. As the process is a bit messy, I would highly suggest placing some scrap wood or similar under your workspace to make the cleanup process much easier. And of course, you're going to need a bucket load of lead. Now, let's get on to the process. First, you're going to pick out slightly more lead than you want to pour, as some of it is inevitably going to set inside the tin. Then, you're going to want to place it on your burner, switch it on, and wait for the lead to melt down. The time will vary, but mine took about 10 to 15 minutes. While you're waiting for the lead to melt, probably the most important thing to do is to make sure that your mold is completely dry. Any even small amount of moisture in here is potentially going to steam up and cause the lead to splash a little as you pour it in the mold. Even as you get used to this process, make sure you don't get too casual about this step. It may look for a long time like the lead is not melting at all, but when it melts down, it all does it quite suddenly, so make sure you keep an eye on it, as you don't want to overheat the lead to the point that it becomes discolored. Once it does melt, you're going to use your spoon and scoop off the impurities called dross that floats to the top. What you'll be left with is pretty much pure lead, which is what you want. Very important in this step is that you're wearing your glasses, your mask, and your gloves. Make sure as well that you're just taking the surface off and not scooping your lead out of the tin as well. If you want, you can put the dross aside and drop it back into your next batch to reduce your lead wastage. Once you're satisfied, it's time to pour. Before you pick up your tin, make sure that there is nothing you're going to trip over between you and the mold. Once you pick the tin up, you're going to want to pour it quite swiftly so the lead doesn't start to cool. It will take some practice to get the pour right, but once you do, the weights will come out in a nice clean piece without layers or jagged edges. After you pour, you'll see your weight harden in seconds. After allowing the lead to cool for a minute or so, pick up the mold and dump it into your bucket of water. As it cools in the water, you can start melting your next batch of lead. After about 10 minutes, you can take out your mold and gently tap out the weight. The next step is to take your rasp and file down any rough or jagged edges of your new weight. Wash off any of the lead filings and your new weights are ready for use. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Good luck on your projects, and I hope this is going to be useful to you.